I don't know who it was.
It's normally
I wasn't
quite
Chaff.
high as well.
He is a field marshal, though.
True.
Hubner. Clarence Hubner was the guy that they ranked up to level 7 with the 10 attack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Harsh leader for the extra 1 attack. Understandable there.
Which was always really surprising, because they'd made him a field marshal, but then they didn't give him the +1 attack field marshal trait, which could have made him an 11 attack. So I was always kind of curious about why they didn't do that last trait, because they had the trait slot, they never used it.
And
It's
there it
just a
is.
bit weird.
They got the restoration. That's gonna,
just a couple of days.
Yeah, just a few days. That was really tight, but now that puts the Republic of Italy in a better position for the start of this war. But they're not going to get any of the benefits from their tree run away from reorganizing Italy.
No, but they can have that at least ticking along, and they don't have the danger of somebody else having 2 Sicilies join them, because this means it's a full annexation of 2 Sicilies, and they're not going to be fighting them as an occupied power, which is a huge difference, because this means they can actually start building up compliance. If not cause, it's Italy. They probably
absolutely.
Spartacus has been released. I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. Meanwhile, let's take a quick look around the various belligerents just to see the kind of units they're putting on the front line. So we can see that Germany has a couple of tank divisions ready to go, using probably my favorite tank division icon with the lightning bolt chasing behind it. Then we got the French over here with a couple of divisions of tanks sitting actually fairly spaced out behind the lines with infantry divisions on the front itself. Austria still hasn't unified the rest of Austria, so they're very much going with the puppets currently. They are also moving troops to the Italian frontier. The Italians got here first. We are now into June and still no declaration of war. And in fact, if we take a look at the focuses, they don't have one selected, neither does France. There we go. Now I can actually see these from their perspectives. So neither France nor Germany currently with a focus going. Meanwhile, on the Russian frontier, we do have Russian troops sitting on the border before Ukraine, with no Ukrainians, but I'm very much guessing that the Ukrainians are behind the lines. Although no, only in a really small area. That's a bit dangerous. Usually you see the Ukrainian army strung along the entirety of the river here, but they haven't. The Dnieper, I think this is.
Yeah, no forces on that Ukrainian border that's worrying.
The Swedish army, 5 divisions only, so I wonder if Sweden's going to be the air controller. They do have a couple of air wings, so not very many. What is Sweden doing here? Oh, and there's only Cass? Interesting.
That was only Cass, yep.
Then down here in Middle Africa, we've got Brazilian troops lining the coast around the French Republic. We've got troops, Brazilian and also French, in the north, getting ready to go after Morocco and probably also Tripoli. Then in India, a couple of units facing off against Iran. China has troops, but they don't actually have that many of them. And they are also joining the Russians on the main Russian front. And then we will also have Americans facing off against the Mexicans. So I wonder if we're going to see an attack against Mexico, and then Canadians just holding a line around
Mexico are
Ottawa.
part of the Third International. So.
Oh, are they?
Yep.
Yes, they are. Interesting. I'd missed that.
No, that was the same in the previous scenario, and actually it bogged down the Americans for a long time. They really struggled against Mexico, and it was an AI Mexico as well, so it was very odd to see the Entente get so bogged down by it. So I wonder if we'll see the same here.
Well, meanwhile, we do have Demande Alsace-Lorraine coming in by the French Commune against the Germans. So we are ticking down to the beginning of the war. And it is going to be a war of French aggression. Well, Bulgaria is still fighting against the Ottomans.
Just as a thing, could you hear a sound on my mic? According to my mixer, there's something that's being picked up, and I don't know what it is.
I don't hear anything from you. I wonder if you can hear my fans, though.
No, no, no. I can't hear your fans. It was I was wondering because I had my AC on. I was like, oh wow, it looks like it's rumbling hard on according to like the OBS mixer, and then I turned it off and I didn't see a change. So I wondered if there was something an issue there. But chat will let us know in about 2 minutes' time. I'm gonna put my AC back on just a little bit.
Well, there's nothing coming through my headset from you.
Okay, well, that's all I care about.
Which means it could be just something else being picked up, but it's not the microphone. Russia has declared war on Azerbaijan. Albania has declared war on Bulgaria. So poor old Bulgaria can't get out the fights right now. They just finished against the Ottomans that just capitulated. Now they're having to deal with Albania.
There's no one on that border either.
No, because they're all against the Ottomans. Which is kind of funny, because I'm pretty sure that Albania was the only neutral nation in Europe in last week's game.
Same here. Huzzah! Sorry, I just filling in for your noises there. It's
always so easy to get involved with that. It's just such a cheerful huzzah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a good sound effect.
It's so cheesy as well with the.
I like what my follow sound effect is for my channel is because normally it has people in chat go, wait a minute, I know what that noise is. Because I use the Age of Empires 3 Home City level up sound. So the ding, and everyone goes, hang on a minute, like it sets off some sort of I don't want to say nostalgia because Age of Empires 3 isn't that old comparatively, but it's just got that, it just sets that good thing noises in people's head, and they go, oh my gosh, the amount of people that have come into my stream, stop watching my stream to go play Age of Empires 3 is hilarious.
You're having an effect, that's for sure. Sorry if you can hear some clunking. I'm trying to put something on my fan so it doesn't rattle. It keeps falling off.
Absolutely fine.
Well, it's annoying me because I can hear it. Should work. Perfect. There we go. Silence. Oh, it's golden. Volunteer forces fighting in Bulgaria have returned to Hither Pommern, so the German troops have just returned to Germany, and Germany is moving them around. There's also a whole stack of Bulgarians here in Stettin for some reason.
Can I take control for just 2 seconds here?
All yours.
Just because I want to adjust the volumes of Spotify a bit.
So those
and or other audio apps are available.
Chat is now saying that they're getting no noise from you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, they might change their minds in a moment. But you may resume control.
Assuming direct control.
Something that would be interesting to check. Not the locations of spies, but who is running a spy network. In terms of who has one actually built. Because I noticed in my previous game that some nations didn't even build one.
Well, you can usually tell by the number of spies they have employed, and yes, there aren't very many. 2 is the most yet.
Very interesting to see.
Like, nobody is. But they might be building spies once they're at war, because building spy networks too early is a bad thing, because you're using up all of the civilian factories, and Hearts of Iron 4 economy is very much a snowball economy. The earlier you get your civilian industry up and running, the more factories they will produce.
Yes, absolutely.
And there we go, Albania has just fallen.
Worked out pretty well for a tiny nation.
I think it was mostly just because the Bulgarians were so far away. Where is Austria on their tree? You know what, I'm not going to check until they're at war, just because.
Absolutely.
Once the wars start, then I will feel a lot happier about this. So meanwhile, Demand Alsace-Lorraine has done... Okay, they were waiting for the refusal, and Germany has just refused to hand over Alsace-Lorraine. What will the French do? Say, it's fine. No problem. Nope, they have declared war upon Germany, and we are here. The Weltkrieg has begun.
Yes, here we have it.
Whose side shall we see this from?
Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on? Yes, the Valkyrie has begun. No movement on the borders just yet. I'm sure it's because a lot of nations being called in. There is actually a pause coming in the game here, probably to get those nations in, make sure everybody is joining the war without the pop-up spam affecting people's micro too much. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. I am very intrigued to see what happens here, especially with the French line there with the overstacked general.
Sorry, now I feel like I can check this so we can see where they are. Not very far down at all.
Nope. Here comes the call-ins. Are we going to see movement on any of these borders just yet?
Oh, then again, they just federalized. Wait, that's not the same thing, though. Okay, so they're doing a lot of things as the outbreak, and there we go, we're unpaused. And there is still a whole lot of no movement.
Defense calls coming in. They've intel here of the French. Oh, is that an attack going in?
It was from the French, yeah. I don't think that was a defend here. I think that was a... I don't remember what the hotkey is, do the thing here.
Yes. Trying to see how stable these lines of entrenchment are. Germany using its esports battalions. Therefore, I know exactly what that is. That's a 40 width medium tank division. Backed up by motorized. They haven't managed to get mechanized out, but look at these French heavy tanks. They're being very close to pushing out, and look at them defend. Can we actually have a look at the stats of that battle?
We can. We can see that the French defenses are massive. Those heavy tanks are beastly. And it looks to me like the German tanks do not have enough organization, because they're having to break off these attacks really, really quickly.
Although we are seeing a French retreat there, to the south there, in the northern corner of Picardy.
We do have a German attack here with 1,000 soft attack there for a while, 1,200 breakthrough. So against infantry divisions, they're doing really effectively, especially infantry divisions out in the open in just a plain. The French seem to have the air superiority at the moment. They are the ones using the CAS, but that is a breakthrough. But we are seeing a counterattack here by the French heavy tanks, and they are able to push the
esports divisions,
German ones, until the infantry arrive. At which point they still no, they'd already won.
They'd already run, and there was yeah, couldn't get into the battle in time there.
And this time is the Germans with the air superiority with the CAS coming in. We've got another pushback against this. It does kind of look like the French could do with a bit more of an infantry buffer down here in the middle. Up in the north, they seem to be okay.
Yeah, they could do with a bit more of an elastic defense, like a couple of extra lines just of organized troops to hold back any outright pushes. Also, to note here, this is just French troops. There's no support from the rest of the international here. Fortress Britannia has become a staple of these games.
Also Fortress Light.
Yes. I said Britannia. I meant as in, yeah, to encompass those two, because they're just like, we're just going to sit here and not help our allies while they have to fight the brunt of Europe. We're trying not to get reclaimed. It's still what's going on there.
Oh, who's the air control? Is it Spain?
No, it would be Britain.
But it wasn't. Oh, yes, it is.
It's Union of Britain.
Must have misclicked. I thought I clicked on them.
You got Ireland.
Oh, I know I checked Ireland after, but I think I clicked on something else. And maybe it was like Wales? No. I don't know.
You got the
yeah, it's definitely Britain. And actually, now that we're on Britain's perspective, let's take a look at the air overview. Okay, I am not seeing any superiority indicators.
No. There's a lot of fighters there. The real problem is going to be fuel.
Britain's okay for the moment.
It wasn't flying any of its fighters.
France, though.
Yeah, France. Having some issues here.
Yeah, France already being completely out. It does look like they're getting a couple of fuel injections from somewhere, but it's going to be a little bit tight here.
I still question the morality of putting 79 divisions on one general.
Yeah, that annoys me every time I see it. Because it basically means this general stats does nothing. Because for every division that you're over, yeah, you're losing 71% of your stat buffs.
Yeah.
So that general is basically not contributing anything.
Split them under multiple generals under one field marshal line.
Yeah.
It does the
we need
exact
to
same
do.
thing you want, but you get.
He's
all
even
the
got it
same
set up.
generals.
This is a field marshal line, this purple one.
No, that's for his tanks.
He doesn't even have a field marshal for this guy. I just noticed that. He's on his own.
There's Gorky Zhukov as well, hilariously.
It is Zhukov. In the French. Why is he in the French?
Because the Soviet Union doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking that. I was actually about to say, this guy looks suspiciously like Zhukov, not realizing it actually was.
It's Zhukov. He's part of the French. He was one of the Russian expats following the first. I can't remember what it's called in the timeline, but the first Russian Civil War, essentially.
And yes, there is something that Chad is pointing out, which is the fact that the Union of Britain actually has troops stationed in Ireland. In the game last week, Britain didn't do this, and Ireland had like 4 divisions defending them, and they just got naval invaded and destroyed.
Oh, wow.
So this time it looks like Britain actually cares if there's a potential hostile power right next door.
Yeah, we got tanks that have come through the Ardennes again. However, not quite as quickly this time.
There is definitely a lot of back and forth, and in fact they were thrown back all the way to Amiens basically, but it does look like the French heavy tanks have managed to push the Reichspakt, and they're pushing really hard. They're actually going for Dunkirk at the moment. We have a couple of the medium tanks trying to push back again. France's tanks are quite a lot superior to them. They can be pierced though. Both sides can pierce each other's armor, even the heavies by the mediums.
I wonder if there's a lot of AT being used as well then.
Or heavy tank destroyers. Or
Yes.
tank destroyers rather. Yeah.
The Italian
And-
front holding for now.
Holding. Austria's trying to do a probing attack, but it doesn't look like it's going to go particularly anywhere. Bulgarian heavy tanks are the ones actually leading the attack here.
Yeah. Superior.
That is red, so they are
Italian
winning.
general there.
Meanwhile, the French tanks look like they're about to be thrown back. They've still not been able to push the tiny little... oh, what are these things called? So you have a little bulge in the line. There's a specific name for it.
Salient?
Salient, thank you. There's the tiny little salient around Rheims, but nothing really has progressed from there. Meanwhile, Bulgaria is still all quiet. Naval stuff is quiet. There are a lot of German troops up here in Norway.
Just
A
attrition.
lot of Germans.
Yeah.
And yes, they are attritioning. Although attrition only actually counts if your unit is moving. So if they're just standing here, no attrition.
Oh, really? I actually
Yes.
personally didn't know that. Yeah, there's a big back and forth here in the Low Countries. /Northern France. That could be dramatic, though. Those medium tanks actually being stopped with reinforcement there with those heavy tanks there. It's tight. The Germans are trying to make an opening, but the French are knocking them back every time.
Yep.
This is a real battle here of meta versus micro. We've got a highly skilled Hoya player versus someone who knows the Kaiserreich meta, and it's close. It's honestly very, very close.
I mean, this is also just vanilla Hearts of Iron meta, to be quite honest. Which is different, admittedly, because the way the design companies and the focuses give bonuses are different. Oh, that was an overrun. The French just got an overrun against the Germans.
Yep. What do the losses look like right now?
Question. Germany's lost 100,000, France lost 59.
72k on the Third International, 163k on the Reichspakt.
And that's somewhat surprising, because France has actually been pushing back here, trying to get into Belgium.
Yeah,
And the front line is moving in France's favour currently. However, the Bulgarians have got their breakthrough. Venice is on the verge of being hit, although they have just moved a lot of troops in. But you can see the thick border here is the original border. Udine has been pushed in. They're actually up to the river now.
Yep.
So there's been a lot more
Valley
progress
has
in Austria.
Certainly been probed. Back and forth in these tank divisions is scary. I'm just waiting for... The thing is right now, the mediums from Germany outnumber the heavies from France. So if they can get around them and they can push that salient out and exploit that before there's enough organization for a counterattack, because what we're seeing right now is the heavy tanks are being kept reserved as counterattacks, and that's giving them time. If there's a misclick in the micromanagement here, Germany will be able to not capitulate, but really make headway. Also, this is an aggressive war for the French, is it?
Yes, this is a war of French aggression, so they are losing stability from that.
Yeah.
Although, not as much as I expected. Maybe that's a vanilla thing where it's -30 instead of -10.
Might be slightly different for Kaiserreich.
Yeah, I think it is. Interesting. I had not noticed that myself.
It's good.
And the Germans have retaken the province, and now the French tanks are the ones that are struggling to push in, but they are doing it. Either because the Germans backed off, and then the German counterattack is ineffective, but then Germany is just moving back. Yep. Sorry, France is moving back. I'm getting the country mixed up.
Big back and forth here.
So
Italy,
far,
are you going to be the soft underbelly of the International?
I do kind of wonder that. I mean, Italy has massively ramped up the number of troops here, and the Italian Navy is just ruling supreme in the Adriatic, so I don't think that we're going to see any naval crossings, at least from the Reichspakt. Once the Entente and the others get involved, then perhaps we'll see that too.
How is the Reichspakt fuel?
Fine.
Yeah.
They're fine. But they're probably still buying from the likes of Germany, from the likes of Russia, or the USA. In fact, they're probably buying it from the USA.
Yes, the thing is as well here, the longer the International hold, the better this gets for the other nations. Well, kind of the worse it gets for the Entente, but the better it gets for the CoPro. There is because this is a four-way axis, there's a four-way graph here in terms of the teams, and basically one's going to be backing the other to win. Right now, the Entente want the Reichspakt to do well, and the CoPro want the International to do well, because they want, their various conquests to be a cakewalk, so they can deal with whoever the person left is. However, at the moment, it's looking pretty even, so all still very to play for. This is early days in the war. This is getting very exciting.
What are the equipment losses looking like? That would be too similar to looking at logistics, so I'm afraid I can't tell you, because that would give away what equipment they're using. But we do have Dunkirk has now fallen to the French, and they are pushing out again. And we do also have another weaker German attack, but even when it's red, they're still managing to push. I think it's because they do just such a massive amount of damage that it's shoving the 1 or 2 units they're defending, and then reinforcements never have a chance to arrive.
Yep.
What's the naval screen looking like? That is an excellent question, which we should definitely check. Bad for the Union of Britain, actually. They are being harassed heavily by Germany. German submarines. Enemy superiority is quite a lot heavier, but I think that just means that the British are probably microing their surface fleet. And then if we take a look at this from the German perspective, yeah, so they are losing a lot of shipping. A lot of shipping.
That's where the fuel problems are coming from, I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. And this looks... Oh no, these are Irish losing. Unfortunately, we're playing with the older version of Hearts of Iron, so every convoy loss looks like just a 1.
Yep.
But yeah, the Germans... I keep forgetting this from the Germans' perspective. The Germans are doing better. This is... They have 200-something submarines plaguing the Atlantic, and the Union of Britain doesn't really have a counter for that. And that is, yeah, where their fuel issues are coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have they set up a corridor for shipping? Britain has, and it's coming out the north, which is wise. France has not. France has done nothing on the ship side at all. So French shipping being lost is because they're just sailing through where the Germans are. And this is one of the areas where intel comes in really, really handy, because you can see exactly what tiles your opponent blocks and where exactly their convoys are going. So you can move your own raiding fleets around appropriately. But it looks like the back and forth has finished for a short time. Both sides taking a bit of a breather and basically allowing the other assaults to take their toll. And one thing which I was looking at earlier is the
Bulgarian
difference
tanks
between
now in the Low Country.
the difference between industry. And at the moment, the Reichspakt just has a lot more industry than the Third International. Like 200 factories more, which is a fair margin.
Yes.
Wait, the Red Pope?
Yes, it's an event once if the socialists take over.
Huh.
Get a new pope.
1,000 breakthrough, 500 soft attack. That's a bit.
Yep. I can now show off my other Kaiserreich mug, as a new cup of tea has arrived in my hands.
Is a sea lion looking likely? Not anytime soon. The real question, is there a way of seeing how many convoys they have? Yes. Do that from the intel screens. Britain has no ships building convoys. You have... Whoa! Yeah, Britain's down to about 160 convoys.
Yep.
That's freaking dangerous for them. So, hang on. Need to make sure I get this right. Alright. New intel ledger. Convoy is 150. Ireland... almost as many as Britain. France is almost 700, so France is fine. This is Union of Britain, though, especially as Britain is the
coming in from the
this looks like a breakthrough.
It is a breakthrough. We saw Bulgarian heavy tanks as well up here, as on this front, as well as I thought I saw some Ukrainian infantry, but it might just be that some of these tanks have been given to the Ukrainian player to micro. The French are fighting back. This is now one player microing against several, which is going to get much harder. No matter how good you are at Hoy, the more people you're fighting against, it's just clicks per second. Men shifting up from the other fronts there.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they're starting to focus more heavily on this particular fight right now, possibly drawing people away from the Italian front. Now the Italians look like they've really dug in, because I am a little concerned by how few French infantry are here. I mean, it looks like they're increasing the numbers, but it's a thin line. It's a thin blue line.
I would not be surprised if we see a slow pullback now to our mains with the heavy tanks to try and hold them at that river.
Yes. Although if Amiens falls, then it's basically a straight shot to Paris. They're going to try and hold on to this as long as they can. The danger spot has been here, this one province in Picardy. The Germans have managed to push it several times. But then immediately after that, you got the forests.
Yep. I'm very surprised as well that we're not seeing... I suppose with the German subs, they probably don't want to risk trying to get some extra forces on the lines over here.
Well, it depends on whether Germany is raiding the channel. Usually that's a bad idea because it's a shallow sea and submarines can get picked off very easily. I know, they've been quite clever and not going for the channel.
That's true.
So supporting Britain, France supporting each other, they can do. The problem for Britain is bringing in supplies, because right now they are completely blockaded.
Are Spain in this war here?
Maybe, but they're still fighting Portugal.
No, they're just fighting Portugal. There's no Italian Federation. See, I would want to see them in. I want to see them like harassing in Morocco and also...
Potential breakthrough. They've just gotten through Amiens. They're across the river. Yep. Outside of Amiens, there are no infantry units around here at all. And things have really opened up for the Germans.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about. If they manage to get that one push through, there's more tank divisions, more of these 40 width tank divisions that can just expose those salients and funnel those troops in. And like I said, there's the Bulgarian tank divisions there. There's the Ukraine player is microing infantry, I think. It's more players against one person's hands, and they're capitalizing. I mean, the French player is fighting back and fighting back hard, but this is going to start looking rough for the Commune of France unless international help happens, either from their allies or the Russians step in. But I don't think we'll see the co-prosperity sphere declare any time before 1940.